I have to call the police.
Hey, hey. Stop it.
My husband hurriedly took my phone me. I've always kept my bank book and my ID in a safe place. I never thought that such a strange thing could happen. It must have been someone close to stole them. My husband is extremely reluctant to this. My distrust of him only grows. My name is Elisa. I am 25 years old, office worker. My husband, Joe, is 28 years old, an upperclassman in college. After graduating from college, I had a drinking party with my college friends. Joe happened to be there too. That was how we met. We didn't have a chance to see each while we were in college, so the drinking party was like our meeting. My husband, who was drunk at the tin strong, appealed to me, and we decided to go out on a spur of moment decision. Even when he wasn't drunk, he told me that he liked me, so I was reassured that he really meant it. My husband is really persistent. He was the one who kept on persuading me to marry him from the time we were dating. He'd also praise me and say,
Your soup is delicious. I want to make it. Thank you for washing my clothes. I want to marry you.
It's these small things, but he really showed how much he wanted me. He loves me so much, so it feels good. In fact, I am so happy that he talks a lot about our future together. I am excited to see what we can accomplish as a team. About a year into our relationship, I found out that I was pregnant. To be honest, I was thinking that it would be exciting to have a child with him. Looking back, I sometimes feel that I should have been more careful. When I told my husband that I was pregnant, he said I knew it. He was very happy. He always takes action, so we registered our marriage on the same day as we got married. We were now living together for the first time. We both used to live on our own. I was somewhat confident in my house. I had my own way of doing things. I was anxious about living with someone I didn't know. My husband had also been living a long time, and he said that he was confident in his ability to do housework. I thought that this would be okay, and I had high hopes for him, but I only got disappointed. In the beginning, he washed the dishes and cleaned the house, but the habit was gone after only a month. Clothes were left scattered in the room. Was in the early stages of pregnancy. I tried to get my husband to help me with the housework as much as possible. I said, I'm not feeling well today of the morning sickness.
Would you clean up after dinner for...
My husband didn't even look at me because he was so absorbed in his phone.
I'm in the middle of a good game right now.
I wonder if he was really listening. I went to bed early. When I woke up the next morning, the dishes were still in the sink. My husband was up late playing on his phone. He's sleeping in the living room. I was in tears because I was suffering. He wasn't responding to my request, help. But I knew that giving up at this was not an option. I asked him to help me with the housework again that night.
Did you forget to wash the dishes yet? I'd like you to do it today if you...
Okay, I know. My mom would never say something like that.
For a moment, what my husband said made me feel uncomfortable. I thought about asking for more details, but my husband might get cranky if I say too much. I swallowed down the discomfort I felt. Thank you for your kind words. The next morning, I felt so much disappointment again. Yes, my husband did wash the dishes, but the dishes were left without being dried. The sink wasn't wiped either, and the area was also soaked with water. Did I have to say, wash the dishes, wipe them, and put them back on the shelf? I felt so discouraged and sighed deeply. I had no choice but to put the dishes away. I wonder what my husband's life was like when he lived alone. When I was beginning to distrust him, he started to talk about his mother often.
My mama never made me or my dad do any housework.
I see. Was your mom working?
No, she's a stay-at-home mom. Well, she is a housewife, so she's supposed to do the housework. My mama did her chores perfectly. Yeah.
I see.
I hope you can be just like my mama. You should work hard.
So for the first time, I learned that my husband had been cheating on me. Calls my mother-in-law mama. I also learned that she is his idea and that he wants me to be like her. Was astonished. Unfortunately, my husband really had a mother complex.
Well, how about I quit my job since I'm pregnant and become a full-time housewife? Then I can do more housework.
That's not good. In this day and age, both husband and wife should be worried about their health. You can't just keep relying solely on my income.
My husband did not listen to my suggestion at all.
What? But you want me to be. Do you like your mom too?
You can at least balance work and health, because that's just the way it is, not.
So, since you're saying it's this day, you will share the housework too.
What the heck? Even my mama wouldn't make me do that.
What he was saying was so messed up. My head was full of questions. In other words, he wanted me to take care of everything at home and be in charge of the finances too. It was too convenient for my husband. I can't accept it. I tried to talk to him again and again, but he would not change his mind. On the contrary, he said something unexpected.
If you don't want to do the housework badly, hire a maid. 11 call mama. That's definitely B.
Why would you do that? That's not what I meant. I just want you to do things right.
I'm telling you, it's not right to make me do it. So if mama's here, it's going to be solved.
I don't know if it was because he had a beloved mother who was close to him. My husband and I didn't get along. When my belly started to swell and more noticeable, I was dreading the situation. Finally, my mother-in-law started coming in and out of our house.
Oh my, isn't this so dirty?
Every time she came to our house, she was very enthusiastic. It was as if she would redo the chores I had done one after the other. She was always trying to do things that I felt like my pace was disturbed.
This is our house, so you don't have to do so much. It's all right.
I'd rather do it myself.
I told her what I wanted her to do, but she wouldn't listen to me. It's unfortunate that my mother-in-law is so critical of me. I couldn't communicate well with my team members. My mother-in-law seems to be proud of what she has done so far. She would often tell me stories like,
My husband is a bit disagreeable, but he makes a lot of money. He's currently working abroad.
Is that so?
But the reason he can focus on his job and make so much money is also because of me. I'm sure Joe will be just like his father. So you should learn from me, Elisa.
This seems to be the reason why my husband was telling me to be like my mother-in-law. I am sure that my mother-in-law had a stroke. Telling him this idea for a long time, he finally agreed to help me.
Oh, by the way, have you considered having a child yet?
No, we haven't decided yet.
About that, choose a name for your baby, mama.
What?
Mama's gonna help us a lot when the baby is born. So I don't mind if she decides.
Oh my God!
Even when I make a blatantly disgusting mistake, I'm not going to apologize for it. They don't even look at me. I'm the one who's going to. I gave birth to my baby, but I'm not a mother yet. I am getting angry at their selfishness. I guess it was because of those days. I began to have frequent stomach cramps. I was stressed out and felt that my body was starting to show signs of wear and tear. Every time my stomach rumbled, I would worry that my child would be bullied or not make friends. I became sicker and sicker at work. I began to take longer and longer breaks between posts. Do you have any suggestions on how to improve my writing? I felt bad about this, and so I decided to talk to my boss about. I said, "Excuse me, I need to talk about something." My boss immediately told me that he could tell just by looking that I was not feeling well. He suggested that I take maternity. Please respond to this email as soon as possible. I felt bad and said, but my boss said he'd be happier if I had a healthy lifestyle, and returned to work in good health. With his encouragement, I decided to take his advice and go on maternity leave. Thankfully, the people around me did not criticize me for it, but rather they supported me. When I get home, I'll tell my husband, "I'm on maternity leave." My mother-in-law was there today, as she should be. When I told them about my maternity husband, didn't look happy about it.
What are you going to do throughout time?
I can't work because of my health condition. It's for the sake of our child. Let's just manage to get by on our...
If you're not feeling well, then why don't you ask my mama to do your housework? Then you can go to work.
Yes, that's right.
My mother-in-law's expression of approval is very annoying. My mother-in-law is the cause of my problems, but my husband doesn't understand art. I didn't like his response, and I've lost interest in arguing with you further.
I'm sorry, but if you can't understand what I say, then there is no point in continuing this conversation. I can't stay here. I'm on maternity leave, and I'm going to have a baby. Back to your parents' house? What do you mean?
I had hoped to give birth at my hometown without my husband's knowledge. I was afraid that if I talked to Mai about it, he would say that he wants my mother to be there. I could not tell him. When they found out that I was going my hometown, they were both furious.
How dare you do this?
You hurt my mama. Why don't you just have the baby here?
The two of them were so furious that I was surprised and overwhelmed by the amount of support I received from my family, friends, and colleagues. But I knew that if I didn't get out, I might be pushed around by my mother, but not by you, and my husband, who has a mother complex.
I've already paid the hospital where I'm going to give birth. You don't want to waste money, do you?
Actually, I haven't paid for it yet, but to my stingy husband, this lie seemed to be effective. With the two of them trembling I quickly packed up my belongings at the hostel, went back to my parents' house. Life at home is like heaven. I was able to spend time at my own pace. I was relaxed. My health condition gradually stabilized. As for my mother-in-law and husband, I think they are still very much upset that I'm going to give birth here. While I was here, they did not contact me at all. Actually, it made me feel safe, and I am able to spend my time without about anything bad. On the exact day of his due date, my husband probably forgot about the due date because he never contacted me at all. It seems he didn't know that I'd given up on him. I decided to let him know that the baby was born safely. Then, after such a long period of no, I received a phone call from my husband.
You don't have to stay at your parents' house anymore, right? Come home soon.
The truth is, I wanted to stay at home for a little while longer and focus on raising my child. However, Thad been at my parents' long time. So I decided to, when I returned to my husband's house, my mother-in-law was waiting for me. I wondered how they would react. As soon as he saw his son's face, he complained.
Why did he have to look like Alyssa? He should have looked more like me.
He looks like me over there. He doesn't look like Elisa. So it's
Even though I endured the pain and the struggle of giving birth, they treated me so badly. I didn't have time to react to the words of my mother-in-law. What was even more shocking was that the layout of the house had been completely changed. I could tell immediately that my mother-in-law had done it.
You did a lot of redecorating, huh?
I'm the one who did it.
I had my mama come over every day since I started working remotely. I also had our room redecorated to my mama's liking.
They're talking so happily in such proximity, and it felt physically impossible to be here. So I look away. I found it unbearable to have. I asked my mother-in-law to leave because I felt tired that day. She came to our house with a large bag with the intention of staying overnight. So she didn't like it.
If you disrespect me, you're going to have a problem.
She left the house with a loud bang. For the next few days, my mother-in-law did not come. I felt very much at ease, even when I had to take care of my child. When my mother-in-law comes over, it's chaos again. I decided to put together a document that would help me keep track of all my ideas, thoughts, and plans. Do you have any suggestions on how to make it better? To be submitted to the office in the meantime.
Oh, I put them away here, but they're not here.
I can't find my bank book and ID, which I need to submit the documents. I had kept them in my room, so there was no way they could be I asked my husband just to be sure, but he said he didn't know. I placed those in a pouch and put it drawer in my room, so it was natural that he didn't know it. I searched for it in the corner of. I thought maybe I had left it when I was tired. However, the room had been redecorated without my permission, so I could not find it easily. Because it is an important thing, I suddenly felt uneasy.
It's most likely a thief. Maybe they got in while we were gone. I have to. Call 911.
I picked up my phone to consult with the police before anything serious happens. My husband, looking impatient, stops me.
Stop it. I was home most of the time, and you were not. As for guests, it's only Mama who can house them. It's not worth calling the police.
Because even after all this searching, I can't find it, you know. If it had been stolen, we'd be in big trouble.
Look again. If you don't look hard, you'll get in trouble with Mama.
My husband snatched the phone out of one, desperately trying to stop me from calling the police. Why is he in such a hurry? He doesn't give me my phone back for after that. He has also been making a lot of comments defending his mother. I felt suspicious about his behavior and decided to take drastic action. The next day, my mother-in-law came to our house for the first time in a while. Her movements were awkward and her vibe was different. She was looking from left to right and did not look at me at all. I sensed that she was hiding something from me, so I decided to ask her about it.
Emma, I want to ask you something. When you redecorated our room, did you see my bank book and ID?
Well, I don't know. I wonder what.
I'm having a really hard time finding. So I'm thinking of talking to the police.
The police? Oh, that's right.
You remember?
The pouch with the flower design. It was in your room. Did you lose it by any chance? You can't even keep track of your own beer. You are so pathetic.
She was upset and raising her voice. My mother-in-law looked so suspicious. But still, I couldn't understand how she could still be alive, make fun of me. I thought that my mother-in-law needed mercy. I folded my arms.
How did you know those items were? Is there a flower patterned pouch?
What?
My mother-in-law stiffened, and her face looked guilty. My husband also turned pale and held in his hands. Seeing the two of them together, I felt angry and ashamed of them, plus a bunch of other feelings that were hard to describe.
I see it now. Then I should leave it to the police.
Stop.
Don't do that.
At that moment, the sound of sirens rang out from outside.
A police car is already outside. If you have an excuse, please tell police.
My husband and mother-in-law continued to make excuses. I told them that I didn't need to what they had to say. I decided to leave the rest to the... Thanks to the police, my bank book is safe. The following items were returned to me. I knew that my mother-in-law had a stroke. My mother-in-law, who did not like my behavior, did it to harass me. She actually tried to withdraw money from your account, but she was told by the bank teller the owner of the account could do. The bank refused to accept the without. Even so, she kept my bank book and I'd hidden to harass me. My husband knew what my mother-in-law done, but he could not betray his beloved. She had her back to him, and he was about to speak when she turned around. When I learned of this fact, I confronted him with divorce. I thought that I would never want to see these guilty people again. So I also demanded child support in one lump sum. Of course, neither my husband nor my mother-in-law had the financial means to do so. I told them to contact my father-in-law right then and there. My father-in-law seemed to be dead. When he found out what my mother-in-law and husband had done, he took my side. He told me that he'll take care of support and that my mother-in-law and husband are responsible for paying him back. Thus, the time Joe and I were married was a very special one in our lives. Only lasted a short time, but I am glad that I got rid of that man. Now that I am a single mother, I am more than happy to see my son. My life is busy and difficult, but my son has made every day of my life very fulfilling. I'm now getting close to going back. I am trying to push myself to live strong. As for my ex-husband, after the divorce, I sometimes hear rumors about him, and it seems that his mother complex got worse. An acquaintance of mine has seen my ex-husband and my mother-in-law working hand in hand and was worried about what was going on. I have no feelings for my ex-husband, so that I can laugh at such stories. I know that they will never change, but I wanted them to repay their debt to my father-in-law.